He was one season away from the NBA, projected first round pick, tournament breakout star, millions on the line. Then a girl said one thing, no trial, no conviction, just a charge, and everything collapsed. The media buried him, his school cut him off, the world turned its back. And when the case was dropped, no headlines, no apology, just silence. Because in today's world, it doesn't matter what's true. One accusation, and they'll never see you the same again. This is the story of Terrence Shannon Jr. and how his dream nearly ended before it even began. Before the headlines, before the courtroom, Terrence Shannon Jr. was on a mission. Chicago made him tough. IMG made him sharp. And by the time he hit Illinois, he was different. 6 feet 6 inches, explosive, a defensive weapon with NBA athleticism. He was already on draft boards, already seen as a pro. But then, just weeks into the season, a woman from Kansas accused him of sexual assault. December 5th, the charge goes public. December 28th, Illinois suspends him indefinitely. Just like that, his breakout season paused, his name stained. He sat out 6 games, alone, in limbo, fighting for the right to keep playing. Then in January, a federal judge stepped in, ruled that Illinois violated his rights, and just like that, he was back. And when March came, he didn't just play, he exploded. 26 points, then 30, then 29, against the best defense in the country. He led Illinois to the Elite Eight, averaged 23 a game in the tournament, and reminded everyone he wasn't just built for the league, he was ready. But the stain, it didn't go away. Shannon had done his part. The headlines were gone, but the weight wasn't. The case was still pending. And in the background, teams were watching carefully. They weren't just reviewing game film, they were watching everything else. Conversations started to shift. Will this follow him? Can we trust the situation? Do we want to explain this to ownership? He wasn't cleared. He wasn't convicted. He was just stuck. In the scouting reports, he was a versatile wing with elite athleticism, but behind closed doors, he was a question mark, not because of how he played, but because of what hadn't been resolved. And in the months leading up to the draft, silence was louder than any verdict. In June 2024, it ended quietly. The case was dropped. No trial, no conviction, just a few quiet words from the prosecution. Insufficient evidence to proceed. That was it. No press conference, no apology, no media frenzy to match the accusations. The storm that almost ended his career, gone in a legal whisper. No one said sorry. No one got louder, except one voice. That tweet blew up. Millions saw it. The silence finally cracked. But even then, no one asked what was stolen. His name had been cleared. But the time, the reputation, the trust, that damage doesn't disappear with a legal statement. Terrence didn't celebrate. He filed a lawsuit because he knew the truth. Shannon wasn't just good, he was elite. A third-team All-American, a Big Ten tournament MVP, a 23-point-per-game scorer with the size to guard 1 through 4. He walked into that draft exactly as a lottery lock should. Scouting reports compared him to Kelly Oubre Jr., fast, explosive, versatile, ready to contribute. But on draft night, his name didn't come off the board until pick 27. Minnesota selected him, not a steal, not a late-round flyer, just a quiet pass on everything he represented. He'd gone from lottery hype to 27th pick. Draft experts called it a mistake. Fans scratched their heads. Some teams, they had already checked out. Yes, he landed in Minnesota, a place known for finding gems, but what does that matter when the league had already made up its mind? He still showed up, but that night, it wasn't about what he proved. It was about what he'd been forced to survive. Minnesota was the right fit, a franchise that's seen real struggle, a system built on defense, toughness, and staying ready. And for Terrence Shannon Jr., it was perfect. He didn't light up the league as a rookie, no highlight reel takeovers, no Rookie of the Year buzz, but he stayed, he worked, he waited. And now, with roster shifts, player exits, and a rotation wide open, he's suddenly in a position nobody expected, ready, overlooked, and still dangerous. Because this time, there's no noise around him. No distraction, just one shot, and that might be all he ever needed. This was never just about Terrence Shannon Jr. It was about what happens when an accusation goes viral, but the truth gets buried. It was about how one charge, no trial, no conviction, can last longer than a prison sentence ever would, and how, in sports, once you're accused, you're never the same again. Terrence isn't alone. Brian Banks lost 5 years of his life. Sean Oakman lost his entire NFL career after one allegation that never even led to a conviction, found not guilty. But by then, it was already too late. You think being cleared fixes it? It doesn't, because redemption doesn't trend, and apologies don't go viral. The news moved on, the fans moved on, the league moved on, but the silence stayed. That's what this story is really about, not just what Terrence Shannon lost, but how easily the system lets people disappear, not because they're guilty, but because it's easier to let the accusation speak louder than the outcome. They tried to erase him, not with a sentence but with silence, with headlines louder than facts, and questions that lasted longer than the story itself. But Terrence Shannon Jr. didn't go away. He didn't fold. He didn't explain himself to win anyone back. He just kept showing up. Now he's in the league, still working, still fighting, still standing. And no matter how far he goes, this will always be part of the story, not because he wanted it, but because the system made sure of it. So if you felt this, if this made you think twice, then make sure you subscribe, because stories like this, they don't trend, and they don't get told unless someone decides to tell them. He made it to the NBA, but not because the system worked, because he survived it.